You gonna be for real, baby? Yeah! You ain't gonna break my heart? I ain't like them. What comes after that? After he says I ain't like them? I ain't like them. Oh, brother said that. Wow, right. Got written down. I ain't like them. I'm different. And then when you call him and ask him where he at, he give you the vaguest answer, don't he? Where you at? Just riding. Chilling. He told you he was chilling. Don't nobody chill that much, bruh. Yes. Ask. The United States of America thinks that marriage is documented only by a piece of paper. In the United Universities of God, which is everywhere, marriage is documented when you go into somebody, when you have sex with somebody.
That's
you
it.
become married.
That's right. That's right.
Remember, Joseph was shocked because he was espoused to be married. He hadn't yet gone into his wife. There was no document to write down. You became married when you had sex with that person. How many people have you been married to? Wow. Wow. Some of y'all been married and divorced and married and divorced and married and divorced. Because you think that marriage is going to the public of the peace, signing a piece of paper, getting all dolled up, walking down. That's called ceremony.
Go be yourself.
And watch this. The United States of America, they don't even honor the marriage until you have sex with them. When you try to go get a divorce, the first question they ask is, has this marriage been consummated? In other words, did y'all have sex? Oh, well, then you need to wait about 8 more months before we even process these papers. Wait a minute, all I didn't have sex with them before I came and signed the paper. They don't care. Because they really go by the standards of God. What Satan is saying is, oh, you ain't married to them, so you don't owe them anything. Well, then how come I'm walking away with guilt? How come I keep rethinking what I've done? And how come every time I do something that's wrong, I sit in service on Sunday morning and I swear up and down at God that the pastor was there when I did it. I promise.
Go ahead, no.
He'll never talk about something until I do it. That's your conscience eating you up.
Oh, God.
He can say Jesus and you like, oh, how'd you know? Your conscience is tearing your mind up. And we start asking you to clap your hands and you can't quite clap. And then you got the nerve to actually sit in the choir stand. Are you serious? Jesus. Really? I mean, at least have enough decency to be like, no, I'm good today. I'm not feeling well. I mean, don't go into the choir. Don't lead the people. Come on, be respectful. No, I'm cool. I'm just going to give me a couple weeks. I need to talk to Pastor. So that's why it is really the same. That's why it's really the same. Whenever you have sex with a person, that's marriage. You say, well, I don't live with them. You ain't got to live with them to be married to people. That's called a roommate. And be honest, some married couples in the church right now, they ain't married, they just roommates. Because to be married to somebody is to be totally committed to that person's needs and desires, not only sexual, but also their visions, their dreams. If your vision and your dream is separate from the vision and the dream of your soon-to-be spouse, you probably shouldn't marry that person. Because you're going to want to do this, and they're going to want to do this. Now, some people come into a marriage with just a desire to support. Baby, whatever you want to do, then I'm going to support you. Some people come in and they have one mind. Let's do this business together. Let's do this together. You do this and I'll do this. Yeah, I like doing that. We're going to work that together. There are some people coming to marriage, they got two totally opposite opinions on marriage. They got different opinions on how they're going to raise their kids. Some of y'all parents, you go to that parent, you ask them a question right now, and they'll be like, yeah, no problem, go ahead. The other parent find out, you ain't going nowhere. But daddy said, I don't care what your daddy said. I'll talk to him later.
My God.
But mama, don't but mama. You know the story. Two different opinions. And then some fathers are just in the dark. They just don't know what you're doing. Let your mama know. Let me move on. Let's look at Luke. I want you to keep this in mind now. Bad choices. I want you to keep in mind. I want you to turn to the book of Luke. We're going to get you a chapter in a second. I want you to keep in mind here. You got to have proper communication. Evil communication does what? Corrupts good manners. Evil communication corrupts you. Listening to R&B can corrupt you. Hear what I said? Can corrupt you. If you are not married and that music is not around, relationship, see, back in the day they would tell you, didn't they used to tell you this? Back in the day they would tell you, you couldn't listen to it at all. No, don't even bring it in your house.
Wow. They
had more problems in marriages back in the day. It's married problems. The woman used to get abused back in the day. Y'all know back in the day, y'all couldn't even wear red.
That's what I heard.
They didn't say nothing about the brothers not wearing red. Y'all couldn't even wear red. Wow. Couldn't have an open toe shoe. I wish you would come in with a heel out in the back. You couldn't have, some of y'all wearing these now, you couldn't have those stockings, the fishnet. Oh, Jesus. If you wore fishnet stockings, you was a Jezebel. Like they knew what Jezebel wore. It always bothered me about that, but I'm going to move on because that was stupid. You ain't never seen Jezebel. Who you calling Jezebel? Maybe you were Jezebel. Maybe Jezebel wore a long dress and was jumping around in that. You Jezebel, just because it says she wore a lot of makeup. Jezebel has some other issues too. Jezebel was mean. Are you mean? You a Jezebel. All right, let me move on.
No, stay right there.
Jezebels didn't read the proper title. Now listen, what happens is you have to then learn how to defend certain communications. I got to jump into that. You've got to learn how to defend certain communications. You got to learn how to cut it off. Everybody repeat after me. Say cut it off.
Cut it off.
I can't hear you. Say cut it off.
Cut it off.
Cut off what?
The incorruptible communication.
Cut off when? You see, what you cut off can either make you or break you. If you cut prayer off, you're a walking dead person. I'm going to tell you how important prayer is. Prayer is more important than you breathing. Stop breathing. What do you want the church to pray? Do. Pray. More important than you breathing. If you stop breathing, you want the church to pray that you get life back in your body. It's more important than you breathe. Prayer is important. You say, Elder Mastin, how do I pray? Prayer is not a lesson on how. Jesus gave an example, even when they said, teach us how to pray. He said, well, when you pray, our Father which art in heaven. In other words, you acknowledge God. There's no formula for prayer. Not so much to the point to where you got to go do this first, and then I got to say hallelujah 100 times, and then I got to read my Bible for about 50 minutes, and then after I'm doing that, then I'll go back on my knees. Did I speak in tongues? Okay, let me go back. Okay, I got that covered. Now, there's no... Prayer comes from within.
Come on.
You can have a fervent, dynamic prayer in 5 minutes. And you can have an extended prayer for an hour. Some people that pray for an hour, their prayer really doesn't last an hour. They just bask in the presence of the Lord for the rest of the time. But their actual prayer does not last a full hour. Most of them, if you ask them, what did you pray in an hour, they couldn't even tell. I was praying for the pastor, and I was praying for the church. If they could say it, it didn't last that long. I was praying for you. Remember somebody say, pray for me, and hey, yeah, I'll pray for you. No, they ain't gonna pray for you. Your prayer life is based upon what you pour out of your spirit to God. If you get on your knees and holler, God help me! I don't want to be in this relationship no more. I'm tired of it. You have prayed more fervent than a person who will sit down there and pray for an entire hour. Because you poured out your spirit to that person. Write this down. Prayer does not have a time limit. That's why Jesus couldn't say, men ought always pray. Because it doesn't have a time limit. In other words, it needs to be consistent out of you. You need to keep on asking God. Just don't do it one time in service. Keep asking God. Get rid of this. I'm sick of it. Get rid of this. Some of us just have an issue that's going to bother us for the rest of our life. I'm telling you that right now. It's just going to keep on trying to get you. That's just what you like. And that's why it keeps coming after you. So you're going to have to fight. Just the bottom line. You're going to have to fight it. When you pour yourself out to God, He fills you back up with confirmation and understanding and forgiveness and love. You don't have to keep carrying that stuff around. You don't have to wait till Sunday to get it out. You got to cut it off. Another way to cut it off, I'm going to scare some of y'all when I say this, but it's the best way to cut it off, fast. Boy, it got quiet on that. Fasting does not have to be just a meal. Fasting is refraining.
Come on.
Tell yourself, I won't answer my phone for 72 hours. Mama, I'm going straight to work. Call me in a few minutes if you want to know if I made it there safe or not. I'm just going to call yourself. Don't call myself no more. I'm not using it this week. I guarantee you, if you turn your phone off for a week, turn off for a week. Just try this. I won't even give you a week. Turn your phone off for 3 days. Then turn it off for 3 days. Resurrect it on the 3rd day. Turn it back on. I guarantee you, most of those calls will stop coming. You'll be waiting by the phone like, nobody called me today. And then you gonna call them. You're like, how come you didn't call me? Girl, I thought your phone was off. I'm calling you all week. The reason why is because, to be honest, they're really not that concerned. They would have came out of job, found you, saw you, said something to you, asked you why you people who calling you for no reason at all. I want you to make better choices then. You got to cut off your senses. Touching is a sense that you got to control. You got to know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. Hearing is a sense that you got to control. Some of y'all won't do it. I hope you do. You need to cut off, delete all the music you stole and didn't pay for. Number one, it's a federal offense. Some of y'all sitting there, catch me, just catch me. It's a federal offense. Number two, it influences you too much. You depend on it too much. You need it too bad. When that song comes on, that's my jam!